Johnny Silverhand is the Zack de la Rocha of the Cyberpunk universe, a musician with a radical anti-establishment message. Johnny's a disgruntled veteran of the 1990 Central American conflict, an anarchist, and most importantly, the first rocker boy. Here's the origins and rise to fame of one of Cyberpunk's most prolific characters. A rocker boy is a class wholly unique to creator Mike Pondsmith's Cyberpunk universe. Rocker boys and gals are charismatic public figures who speak up against the powers that be. They usually come in the form of musicians like Johnny Silverhand, but they don't have to shred the guitar or play an instrument to be considered a rocker boy. According to Pondsmith himself, to be a rocker boy, you just need to be able to eloquently stick it to the man and convince your buds to stick it to the man with you, man.
But a rocker boy doesn't have to be a musician. A rocker boy can be anyone who's a orator of the people, anybody who can talk to others and convince them by the power of words, music, sometimes art, and so forth.
Although Johnny Silverhand is a 100-year-old rock legend in Cyberpunk 2077, his story begins in the 1990s during the Central American conflict, a bloody struggle launched by the United States war machine to squash communism. Unsurprisingly, the United States had ulterior motives. There were important resources at play that the United States government wanted a piece of. While the US did a good job of keeping this a secret from the general population, soldiers began to uncover the government's underhanded intentions. Many enlisted soldiers, broken and battered at this point, deserted and returned to the United States. Among these deserters was one Robert John Under. After losing an arm, he returned to Night City with a red-hot rebellious spark in his eyes. After getting fitted with a new Arasaka-designed cybernetic arm, he changed his name to Johnny Silverhand and formed a band called Samurai. The group consisted of Carrie Eurodyne, Denny, Bess Isis, formerly known as Nancy, and Henry. You know, good old Henry. Samurai's music was a global phenomenon. The world knew who Johnny Silverhand was, and they heard his messages of rebellion and revolution loud and clear. Samurai criticized government, world leaders, and of course the mega corporations that ruled the world. More importantly, Samurai's music lit a fire under the general public. Everyday folks were picking up instruments and getting their message out there. And so, the rocker boy was born. Unfortunately, Samurai came to an abrupt end when Nancy pushed her abusive boyfriend out of a window and killed him. I say good for Nancy, but the United States justice system seemed to disagree and put her behind bars. Shortly after Samurai separated, Johnny Silverhand kicked off his solo career. His first solo release was titled Sins of Your Brothers. If his work with Samurai consisted of vague lessons in rebellion, Sins of Your Brothers overtly called out the injustices of the Central American conflict. Johnny's first solo album proved to be a massive hit. Not only did it sell like crazy, but it changed the world's perception of the Central American conflict and shined a light on the United States' imperialistic practices. Things were going well for Johnny. His fame was on the rise and he started seeing a woman named Alteria Cunningham, or Alt for short. Alt, an incredibly talented netrunner, created a program called Soulkiller that essentially rips a netrunner's mind from their skull and makes a copy of it inside a mainframe. The body, still alive, is left to decay. The good times sputtered to a halt when Arasaka thugs kidnapped Alt to get a hold of her Soulkiller program. Johnny, in a fit of rage, devised a plan to rescue Alt from the Arasaka building with the help of Thompson, a famous journalist with a distaste for megacorps. It's important to note that at this point, Johnny hates Arasaka. He already did to some extent, but now things are personal. I imagine he'll make his hatred of Arasaka very clear in Cyberpunk 2077. I'm sure he also hates that shiny metal Arasaka arm he's rocking. With the help of his former bandmates, Johnny Silverhand puts on a free show near the Arasaka building to hopefully incite a riot. Then, Johnny would lead an assault on Arasaka to save Alt. Just like when Rage Against the Machine performed at the Democratic National Convention in 2000, a riot erupted outside of the Arasaka building after Samurai played a song titled Chippin' In. Fun fact, Swedish hardcore band Refuse did an official rendition of this song, which you can listen to right now, as well as a few other Samurai songs.
Can you feel it? Can you touch it? Get ready, 'cause here we go.
Johnny's crew, with a crowd of 6,000, broke into Arasaka headquarters. Sadly, they were too late. Alt was dead and her mind was trapped in a mainframe. This particular section comes from a story titled Never Fade Away in the Cyberpunk 2020 rulebook. We will most likely visit this event in another video, but if you want a more in-depth look at this key moment in Johnny's life, we recommend reading the full story. After that, Johnny disappeared. There were rumors that the indomitable cyborg Atom Smasher put a bullet in Johnny, but his remains were never found. Of course, this isn't the last time we'll hear from Johnny Silverhand, as his electronic ghost seems to play a significant role in Cyberpunk 2077, played by the illustrious Keanu Reeves.
Cyberpunk.
There's a brief overview of Johnny Silverhand's life and legacy. There's a lot more to this story, but we'll have to wait until November to find out more. In the meantime, if there's a cyberpunk topic you'd like to see us cover, leave it in the comment sections below. And make sure to tune in next week as Jean-Luc breaks down Johnny's arch nemesis, Arasaka. And with that, we'll see you next time, Samurai.